Hi everybody, so it's week 4 of Math It Up, and the topic this week is transforming equations. So there are 6 practice packets available up in the Education Resource Center. Alright, so this video is going to address any questions you may have about the practice packets. I took some specific problems from the practice packets and I put them up on the board here, and I'm going to show you how to solve them. So hopefully this will answer any of your questions, but if it doesn't, don't hesitate to come by and ask me. I have an open forum from 3 to 4 right before Math It Up for anybody who's not a regular member. Alright, so without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so understanding how to both transform equations and define certain variables is very important, particularly when you're solving word problems, which you'll be doing in packets 5 and 6 this week. Now, most math students tend to shy away from problems like these up on the board, thinking that they're too complicated. But if you think about it, defining x in each of these two problems is just like solving a one-step equation. Alright, so when you're asked to define x, all you're really doing is just isolating x on one side and defining it in terms of these two variables. So in order to leave x on one side, you must shift over this positive a. So we'll subtract a from both sides, and we get x is equal to b minus a. And that's all there is to it. You've defined x. And obviously, since there are no numbers in this equation, you're not going to get a numerical value for x, and that will be your answer. But if you want to be a little more proper when writing this out, the standard form is to write answers in alphabetical order. So really, you'd write it as x is equal to negative a plus b. Just a little side note, make sure when you're rearranging letters, you don't forget to shift the signs along with them. So for example, if you wrote x is equal to a plus b, that would be wrong because you're forgetting about this minus sign. So make sure when you're shifting a, you write its negative sign. Alright, so in order to solve this problem, again, all you need to do is isolate x on one side of the equation and define it in terms of these two variables. So don't shy away from this problem just because you see x in the middle of the equation. All you do is try to shift d to the other side. So we're going to subtract d from both sides, and we'll get negative x is equal to c minus d. But we're not done yet because, again, we're trying to define positive x, not negative x. So all you do is shift this negative over. Again, we learned this in week 1, and x is equal to negative c plus d. And we check it's in alphabetical order, so that's how you do it. And that is your answer. So that's all there really is to it. So again, it's just like solving 1- and 2-step equations, except instead of having numbers, you have letters. Alright, so these are some practice problems that I took directly off of packets 4 and 5. So they do look a little more complicated, but don't worry. Again, in order to define x, all you really need to do is solve it as you would any other equation, except again, you're dealing with letters instead of numbers. So in order to isolate x on this side of the equation, you need to divide c from both sides. So you'll get x is equal to ab over c. And that's it. You've defined x in terms of these 3 other variables. That's all there is to it. So in order to isolate x on this side of the equation, it's going to involve a little more steps, but that's okay because, again, we know how to do this. We practice this stuff in week 1 and week 2. So the first step we have to take is try to get rid of this b and move it to the other side of the equation. So in order to do so, we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by b. So we're going to get x minus a is equal to bc. Alright? Now we need to get rid of this negative a, so in order to do so, we add a to both sides of the equation, and we get x is equal to bc plus a. But again, remember how I said we like to write stuff in alphabetical order in math? So you can rewrite this as x is equal to a plus bc. And that is your answer.